don't remember to push the button, I'll forget. Good morning, everyone. Happy Monday. Just happy to have all of you beautiful ladies on here with me today. And we were just talking about Eric Worre's GoPro book and how it helped me years ago just step into accepting, like, or embracing, I guess would be the better word, of like, oh yeah, this is my career, this is my business, this is what I do. So I don't know about you guys, but sometimes it just kind of seems like something on the side, especially if you've had a different title. So, or you have a different title. There's her GoPro book. I just found it on my shelf, which is funny that you brought that up because I was looking through some books and I saw it and I was like, oh, I need to bring that back out. It's been a while since I've read it. I don't know if you've seen that one yet, Carla, the GoPro book.
I read like just a preface of it. It sounded really interesting. So I would love to borrow it from you.
Yeah, of course.
Because I don't have enough books to read right now.
Well, you can't buy one to store. You need to borrow and give back.
Yes.
They do. He has the an Audible version too, I guess. I don't know if it's Audible or if it's just recorded, but I give all my new teammates the book and then option, or either the option for the book or the recording.
That's a good idea. Yeah. And we were talking about the calendar that I had posted in our Voxer group. That was say the words again, Lori.
Plan, do, review.
Yes.
It
was the monthly, and she was saying it was from Eric Worre, and I didn't know that. I just saw it in a Voxer chat and thought, that's great for us with DMO, just remembering not just planning out your day, but planning out that month. And this is the review week, and just kind of, I think of like wrapping everything up, the conversations you've had, really good follow-up, making sure your numbers are where they need to be, your team members are, who's close to getting a promotion and may not even know it. A lot of times that will happen, especially with our Partner Plus. And, they're just a couple of points away or one order away and you can help them. But if they're new under a new person, that new person doesn't know how close they are. And so it takes us, our eyes on those type of things. And then also, how close are you? I mean, how sad would it be to miss a bonus because you were 50 points away or something? And so just knowing where you're at and make sure your team members know where they're at. But I wanted to talk today about starting conversations. Good morning, Jan. And just looking at, I would like to talk to you guys and think through the last person you started a Juice Plus conversation with, or maybe even someone you currently have a conversation with now. Like, how did that start? Where did that come from? How did you get into that conversation? Because sometimes, I do hear this a lot. I've talked to everyone I know. I don't have anyone else to talk to. Like, everyone I know already knows about Juice Plus and they're not interested, or they're already taking it, or it may be a different, product. But so I would love to hear from you guys. What's a conversation that you're having? How did it start? Give us a little bit of detail about that, because I think we can learn from each other, because we might get kind of stuck in a rut of how we get conversations going. So does anyone want to share? One of you
I'll
has
share.
Okay, good, Lauren.
I was trying to remember how the conversation actually started. So, of course, my husband's a dentist, and I went into the office Wednesday, and one of the girls that's been with him for 30 plus years, and she'd been on Juice Plus, and then she'd gotten off, and that's the part I can't remember, is how it actually came up. But I talked to everybody about Juice Plus, and it automatically came up. But she is Hispanic, and I brought up the business, and I said, I'm specifically looking to grow a business in Mexico and with the Spanish speaking people here. Her eyes just peaked. She was like, what? Okay. And then I talked about our, things in being in Spanish, translated and so easy to understand. I mean, she is fluent either way, but of course the people in her world may not be. So I know that she's not going to do what she's doing forever. And this could be another income for her. So I followed up, with some stuff, and I'll be following him up this week to see if she watched the video that I sent. But it was about the business, and specifically where she would fit in. Since I was talking to her, that was what my specific market was.
Yeah, great. That's awesome, because remember, it's their why, right? It's their interest. And when you're saying like, come on along, I choose you, I'm looking for people like you, I'm looking to build, and I would love to do that with you. That's just, it's an awesome thing to be chosen by somebody else. So I love that, Lori. Anyone else?
Well, I have recently joined a women's Bible study, and all the people in there, with the exception of one, were all new to me. So, just sitting back and listening for people's problems and, health struggles that they have or that they have in their family. And then, just reaching out and saying, let's have lunch or let's do coffee or whatever. And then having a one-on-one with them. That's my sweet spot. I just love to do, coffee or lunch with people and just get to know them and talk about their problem, whatever it is. And so that's what I've been doing.
So can you think of a specific one of those ladies that you were able to bring the conversation up? Like, how did that come about? Because it's not usually like, I don't know, most people don't say, hey, tell me about the product that you sell. Like, we're listening for the need, but it still takes us to speak up. Can you think of any of those specific conversations of like how it went?
One particular gal I connected with, she we just started talking and getting to know one another. Tell me about your family, tell me about what you do outside of Bible study. And she started telling about, she has 3 boys, and she mentioned she had a special needs son. And so she went all around that. And I said, well, share with me more about your special needs son. And so she told me, and she told me about some of the problems that he has, specifically constipation, thyroid issues, but they're very holistic. He's 20 some years old. And so she's been navigating this and doing it, the holistic as much as possible way as in all these years. And so I could see that connection. And so I just asked her, if she had heard of Jesus Plus, and she's like, oh, I have heard of it. And, so that's kind of how I got started. I followed up with her. I'm sending her some, actually, I just texted her just a few minutes ago and asked her if I could send her some samples and not wait. We were in meeting only every other week, so I just didn't want to wait till the next meeting. So
a great question you asked in there is, tell me more about that. I mean, that just leads to, like, you're listening, they're talking. You can learn so much as they're talking. They feel heard, they feel valued. So tell me more about that. And then from there, you can gather a lot of information that, again, when you bring the product into the conversation, it's already connected to their why, because they told that to you, you heard it, and they feel heard. So I love that sentence. Tell me more about that. I want to hear more about what's going on. Even like, how's his nutrition? I mean, there's just ways that you can ask that from leaning into that conversation. So great job.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Well, I'll also share a flip side, another conversation that I had that I'm regretting not getting to that point. So it kind of a struggle. I kind of sat there in the conversation and didn't really get to that. And now I'm like going, now what am I going to do? So same thing, I heard a need in that Bible study with the gal, and she was talking about her 14-year-old, she's raising her granddaughter, and she's 14 years old, and she's on the spectrum. And so I knew all that going into the lunch, and we talked for 2 hours and enjoyed every minute of it. But at the end, I didn't share with Juice Plus. It just, I'm like, I think I told myself, not this time. You don't want her to think that that's the only reason you invited her to lunch is because you wanted to tell her about Juice Plus. I had some red light stories going on there. in that particular conversation. So now I'm like, now what am I going to do? So
I think you could just go back and say, I was thinking about what you said, that's been going through my mind, how you talked about these things. And I have something I think you might be interested in. Would you like to meet again to talk about it? Or can I send you some information? Or have you ever heard of Juice Plus? Like, you can start that conversation back again. But because you invested all of that time, her heart's going to be open to what you have to say. I mean, she's not going to think this is all about that, because you weren't all about that. You didn't jump right to it. So any other advice for Marcia with that?
I agree. I love the thing of calling back, after the meeting and saying, something you said really caught my attention and I can't get it out of my mind. And honestly, because I speak for myself, I just say, I think God is telling me, it's just laid on my mind. I feel like I need to talk to you about this. I'm not attached. I don't say this part, but I'm not, of course, attached to the outcome, just sending the message, giving the message. So I love that.
I think that speaks volume. I've been thinking about you. When someone comes back and remembers what you said to them and that it moved them to try to help, I think that's super powerful. So don't discount that. Reach back around. So.
Right. I love that. Thank you. That's very helpful. I do have a friend who has she's a Juice Plus partner on another team, but we're in a WAM together, and she was sharing about her own son who's, she has two sons that are actually both on the spectrum. And so she's made a message for me that I could share with her. So that's another thing. I could offer that to her as well. My friend, it just hit me, I was talking to my friend Eileen, and she reminded me that she has two boys on the spectrum and they've been eating Juice Plus for whatever. And it's really made a difference, whatever. And then share that message from her, or connect her on a 3-way call. So that's another way I could do it too.
Excellent. Yeah, to continue that. I love what your sign says behind you, Marcia. Done is better than perfect. But yet we still want every conversation to be perfect, but we just got to get into it. Just start the conversation. Anyone else want to share a recent conversation? Anything come to mind, Carla? No?
Like you were saying, try in a new community and meeting new people. So
We're losing you, Jan. You're stuck.
was
I hate to do this to you, Jan. Oh, we literally lost her. Maybe lost her.
market this past Wednesday, just starting to get into conversations with people. Oh, shoot. Okay, maybe.
We were really delayed. I don't know. When you get to a better spot, Jen, jump back in with us, but it was just too broken up for us to hear you. All right. One that I thought of that I would share with you guys, we were in South Carolina on vacation, and we did a sunset cruise, and it was so nice to just see everyone was laughing and talking, and it was very connective. And I was just like, this is the America I love, that we have missed. And it was strangers talking to each other, and this lady sat in front of us, and she was super friendly, and she said something about being from Massachusetts. We had lived in Boston, so we started that conversation, and she and I just chatted the whole time, and we ended up talking about about what she does, what her business is, or what her job is, and that she doesn't really like it, and that her husband does construction, and her daughter was moving to South Carolina. It was just really focused. It kind of got focused to where we were talking about. I was asking her deeper questions, and I was thinking, I don't even know this lady. I'm asking her these questions, but what do you love to do? If you could do anything, what would you do in something that you really enjoy versus a job that you're just sitting at? And I was prompted from this book I was reading called Corporate Dropout, of all these ladies that had been in corporate world and jobs that they thought like this is what they were made for. Like they were so excited to get them. And then over time, they just realized they were draining them, and they ended up with severe health issues. It was almost all of them autoimmune issues, which is interesting. It seems like women end up with an autoimmune disorder and men end up with a heart attack. So that's just kind of what it seems like, stress wise, from business or from jobs. But so I was talking to her about that book and just like encouraging her, life is too short to sit in a job in accounting in a pharmaceutical company that you don't even like, you find no passion for, and you don't even love where you live. Like, if you could move, like you can move. And I was just kind of encouraging her with that. Then she asked me what I did, and I said health and wellness. I help simplify nutrition for busy families. And so we sort of got into that, and she was like, oh, I've gained weight from COVID. And so we talked on it, we touched on it. I told her what it was, just the interest wasn't there. And the conversation just continued, but I never got her information. Her interest was not super high on Juice Plus. Like, she didn't even really, even discuss it once we were talking. And yet the discussion really was a lot on the business side of her life. Now, I didn't even share the business because her interest wasn't there on the product, but I could have been a resource to her and said, hey, I would like to send you this book. Are you on Facebook, or are you on, can I connect with you again? I'd like to send you I'll take a picture of it and send it to you, something to where I could continue the conversation. I have no way to find her. I don't know her name. I have nothing on her. So that conversation, I mean, who knows what, maybe that investment of time that I put into her and kind of planted seeds in her mind, but I would have liked to help her out with that over future. And I liked her. I could see us being friends. So that was one that I was like, dang it, I didn't get her information. But another lady, I asked her to take a picture of our family. And then I said, well, I took a picture of them. And then I asked her, can you take a picture of us? And then we started chatting. They had been in South Carolina. That was our first night. So I was asking her, what have you gone to see? What do you like? What do you love? And they were talking all about that. Super friendly. We started talking about where she was from. And I think it was in New Jersey, or New Hampshire. It was one of those. And we just had the best conversation. And so I did end up getting her information because I was a resource from something else. It never went to health. It never went to jobs or business or anything else. It was just a resource to something else. And so I said, we exchanged information. She texted me, and last night I texted her back and just said, sorry for the delay, but we really had a great time. These are the things we did. Thanks for the recommendations. And I asked her, are you on Facebook? Because I need some other way to keep the conversation going. She may see something on my wall, like if I don't ask, why am I ever going to text her again after I sent her that resource? It's kind of going to lay flat. So sometimes it's like learning to build the conversation past just the initial connection of how do you keep that going. These are two people, I'm probably never going to see them again, right? So if I'm not intentional about that, the conversation goes away. I have no way to follow up with them. A little bit different if it's someone like you're saying, Marcia, that's in a Bible study, you're going to see her every other week. But I love too that you thought, I need to keep this conversation going. Why wait 2 weeks? Get the information into her hands, get the samples to her, so that the next time you guys are in person, the conversation moves even a little bit further. And, you're not like just giving samples and then waiting 2 weeks to see what she thought of the samples. Like a lot of times we can get stuck in that, or waiting to invite people to an event. Oh, I don't have an event on the calendar for another 2 weeks, so I don't really know what to say. So I'll just wait till I invite to the event. But you lose momentum in that conversation too. So it's just important to keep that going. And just being interested in people wherever we're at, being interested in what they're interested in. And then it often swings back. They'll open up and share something with you. But I think those are all good reminders for us starting conversations with strangers this summer. I've gone back to conversations where I left and I went back into the store and said, you know what? I didn't tell you this and I should have. And I can, you shared this with me and I can see you're really struggling. And if I have something that might help, I don't want to keep that from you. Can I share with you what has helped us? And, she eventually became a customer and a team member and still takes Juice Plus 8 years later. And it was being brave enough to go back. And just like your sign says, Marcia, it's not perfect. I mean, there's times that you're like, I didn't do that right. I didn't listen to the training. I knew what to do and I didn't quite catch it. And you just swing back if you can, or learn from that in the next conversation. But being brave enough to have it. I mean, we're putting ourselves out there, sort of opening up for rejection. But I mean, even in 20 years of sharing this, I can't really think of a time where I felt super rejected. I know it happened, but I don't even remember it. You know what? I don't even remember. I don't even remember who the person was or the situation. Even if it was hurtful, because it's usually family. I don't know if you guys have noticed that. It's usually family that will say something, but they get over it. You get over it. They see you're serious and that you're, if you stick with this, eventually they may come around or they're just not interested. I don't know, but most people aren't rejecting us anyway. It's rejecting their don't want to change. They don't want to eat healthier or whatever it is. And you're seen as the one telling them, hey, don't eat that, which we don't, but that's happened. So give yourself a little bit more grace, right? And just have the conversation, be brave. Anyone else want to share anything on that? No? All right. What events do you guys have coming up this week? We have, our team is doing one online. Leanne Harris shared a video, recording, and it's a video. It's like 8 minutes about stress. I don't know if you guys saw that came through. So I was like, such a great timely message. And so we're going to build an event around that. So I'll kind of be talking a little bit about, what stress does to us. And then we're going to play her video. And then one of our team members is going to talk about how nutrition really made a huge impact in her stress level and her mental health. And I mean, she has an amazing story, gave her life back to her. So we're going to end with that. So I'm guessing it'll be about 30 minutes. That's tomorrow night. So I need to get more serious in inviting. That's on my DMO today, that event. Anyone else? What event you got?
We had a salad in a jar yesterday afternoon, and it was really fun. And we have an event coming up, a wine and wellness at a little shop here in our small town that is a gift shop, is their main business, but they have a little bistro and they serve lunch and they also serve wine. And so she's agreed to do a wine and wellness with me, and she installed a TV there. So we're going to, when Wendy Campbell does the Wows and the Whys on the 14th, we're going to do that. We're going to have wine and wellness that week. So we're excited about that.
Is that the place that I spoke at when I came?
It's just across the street from there, Stacy. Yeah.
Oh, it was so cute.
Yeah.
That's awesome. They installed a TV for you guys.
Yeah.
Yeah, that'll be good. We've done that with Wendy's and we're doing that again too. It's really good. I like having it at a venue like you're saying, where they can come and order, and just makes it more of an event and fun. So I love that idea.
Well, while we're on that, I'm struggling with, we're charging an event, we're charging a price because they're going to get wine and charcuterie. And so the gal who's doing it said, I need $15 to cover that. And when she said 15, it's like, I don't really think that's too much, but I mean, for what she's doing, but I feel like I don't know if this is just a red light story or if I'm, whatever. So I told my team member who's doing it with me that I would pay $5 of that $10 for all the guests and just pay that. And then somebody else said, $15 is nothing for a glass of wine and charcuterie. You shouldn't feel that way. And so now I'd love to hear all of y'all's opinion about that.
Well, I think on one side, it's like, I love that you're coming. I want to thank you for coming, or I recognize you're coming. I'm contributing $5, like sort of like giving them a gift card or something. As leaders, we often do that, as, pick up the, some of the fee just to make it easier. But I think, I mean, 10 or $15, if it's something that I really want to go to, I'll pay for it, like if it's of interest to me. But I do, and they are getting something out of that. So I don't think you can lose either way with it. But if you come from it of like, I'm just thankful that you're here and I wanted to thank you back, or, appreciate that you're coming and it's my treat kind of thing. So I think that's all right. People like
So
that.
you would still advertise it at $15 a person, but then one-on-one, you would say, I'm gonna pick up part of that or something. Is that what you're saying?
You could, or you could just pick it, just pay the $5 for each person and advertise it as 10. Is it
Okay.
only your team that's coming? Like your downline and your customers and prospects?
Mine and a downline, yeah, we're inviting together. So yeah.
I mean, it's not going to be that many people. So I would say it's fine. Anyone else have advice for Marcia?
So one of the things that I think of is that, is it duplicatable, and what would your team think about that? I don't drink wine. I have no idea how much wine costs. I don't know the cost of a shark. Well, I can't even say it, but the food that's going to be there. But people, I mean, $10, $15 is nothing. And I mean, although it's a lot in the concept, people are paying that much all the time.
For
So
dinner, yeah. Like
yeah.
if you go out to eat to dinner, you're not going to get wine.
Oh,
and
it's
food
more
for
than that.
15.
Yeah, you can't get dinner and a glass of wine for $15 for sure.
But if you do it, then will your downline or potential people that come, even your guest who you tell, I'm going to cover this, will they automatically go, well, I couldn't do that, so this would not be for me. So, or maybe they're thinking $15 a pop, could I do, they're just think about it. They're just registering. And if that's, you're sending that message one way or another, however you do things. I don't know that there's a right or wrong. It's just.
Yeah.
I would either just charge 10 and say it's 10 and you pick up the 5. Because what if you pay for 5 for some people, but then you didn't for the other people or whatever. So I like what you're saying with that, Lori. Just if you're wanting to pay for part of it, just advertise for 10 and then you pitch in the 5 for each one.
Well, that's what I was doing. We're putting $10. Actually, we're putting $10 on a flyer if you pay in advance and 15 if you pay at the door. And then I was just going to, however many come, I was just going to pick up the rest. But you make a good point, Lori, about duplicatable. My team member who's doing it with me would not be able to do that. So, but we would, if we do it again, we'll do it together. So, I would just be duplicating it again. So, but well, again, I said,
and also just say, I mean, it doesn't mean you shouldn't do it, but you can say something about, to the person, I'm going to do that, this is going to be my gift to you this time. Or so you can say something that makes it like, it's not just a blanket, I'm going to do this all the time, every time. So you can kind of explain a little bit, or just, I'd like this to be my gift for you for this event or whatever.
Yeah. Okay.
You can't lose. It's going to be a fun event.
It doesn't have to be perfect.
That's right.
Yeah. Can you hear me now?
Yes, we can hear you, Jen.
Okay, I thought I'll leave my video off because I'm outside watering now. Like, I'm not inside, but I'm closer to my Wi-Fi is what I'm trying to tell you. And then when I'm on the road, it's just too noisy with the road noise. So the event we have with our team is we're doing Stories of Hope. So we've been doing this. They're doing a contest of the summer sizzle, and then they're doing a little bit of training. And then at 6:15 my time, they're getting on like 3 people each time sharing stories of hope. So it's been nice having a ready-made event in a way to, invite to. And then tomorrow night, I'm going to be helping with a couple of sidelines, and we're doing, because we did this, not just using the shred guidelines. We're doing like a 22-day transformation. So we did that in June. We're going to do one in July and August. So tomorrow night, we're just going to, we're inviting people who want to look at it. We're asking the people to share their takeaways from how they felt, this last time. And other people might have already been doing, the shred lifestyle. So those are the kind of things I'm inviting to this week. People who are asking the question about how to meet new people, I did do that Wednesday market, and some people told me, oh, bring your tower garden, but there isn't an electrical really hookup down there to bring the tower garden at this point. But it's interesting, my tablecloth, that two-sided one that has the picture of the tower garden on one side and then the Juice Plus fruits and vegetables on the other. So I put the tower garden side out, and then I kind of pointed out when people come up and talk to me. And so two people were interested, or three, two or three, about the tower garden. So that was something. And not a lot of people came up to our table, but like you said, over time, when we're there again, they're going to see me over the summer. I'm not going to go every week. It is a lot of work, and I need somebody to do it with when she's available too. So I thought that went well, and it's just following up with people. But I did like your question. Somebody asked something, after I send them the information and to follow back up with them, because they might not, or even over this, maybe I can ask them. So why did you stop by? What was it? What interested you in what I had, have, or something like that? Do you think that would be a good question to ask to follow up?
I think it would be great. Yeah. Why did you stop by? What caught your attention? Yeah. I think that's great.
Okay. Yeah. And then I've been going to more like chamber meet and greets. So I went on a walk with a lady yesterday, and we had a nice conversation. We really didn't get into what I do, and but she even said, next time we need to get together and sit down and have tea so we can really talk about, I think, so it was good though, and a couple other people. I had another one on Friday with this young man, and he's very interested in me helping him with his nutrition stuff. So what I have been doing with meet and greets is kind of like, having that one-to-one afterwards, and getting to know and kind of asking some questions about, like, how did you grow up? Tell me about, what did you guys have a garden? What did your nutrition look like? And then I'll ask them, so what is it? Did your nutrition change when you left? Like, when did you go off to college? Or, just kind of getting in conversation. What does it look like now? Are they taking any supplements? And then, finding out what is, something that's their health concern that they might have. So that's been really good. Sometimes I have a need, and sometimes they're not ready for that change, so that's been helpful. One other thing is just in the follow up, this lady, I know I can really help her. It just hasn't been the right timing. So I hope that we will actually get to meet again on Wednesday, because I met her last December, but she has a husband who has MS. My mom has MS. She has a special needs daughter. I have a special needs daughter. So we had some connections, and she's just a lovely person. And I did go over and talk to her. I mean, I was over her house for 2, and then at the end, it kind of Juice Plus, and she was really excited. She even wanted to, do our shred in June, but her daughter was graduating, and now we're going to start another one. And look at how I'm still trying to follow up with her just from that conversation. So, you just, saying hello, and I guess being, a little bit persistency, right? And inviting people to things. So I hope that's helpful.
Persistency, or being persistent. Is persistency a word, Jen? Did we just make that up? Seems very long.
Persistency? I don't know if it's a word. Persistent?
I don't know either. If it isn't, it needs to be. But being persistent
and consistent. Maybe that's persistent and consistent together is persistency.
I like it. Well, it's true. It is. It's an over time, because of the type of product that we're selling. It's higher on the need for education, building rapport, and it's not an impulse buy. And if you're selling candles or kitchenware or something like that, it's more on the impulse buy of things. Like, I see it, I want it. But when you're having to tap into why do you need it, what it is, how it works, what's it going to do to me? It has a longer term commitment than a one-time $8 spatula. It's, a price every month that you're paying because you're eating it. It's just a different it's a different conversation. And so it's persistence and consistency in that follow-up to help them move to the place where they feel confident, they're ready to order, they know what it is, they're saying yes, because we've all had people that say yes right away, don't take it and cancel anyway, so it's worth the investment. And then there's other people, you talk to them in the first time and they're like, this is exactly what I was looking for, because they've already know the need for it. They already understand the benefits of fruits and vegetables. They've already done research, like that's been done for you by themselves or somebody else. And so that it's not going to take as long, but a lot of times, that's not where I wasn't there. I needed help through that. And so just keeping that in mind, it's not a quick buy product. It's going to take the consistent effort and being persistent. So I appreciate that. Girls, we're over 30 minutes, so I'm going to stop the recording and thank you all for joining.